The land and the sea both have control over different parts of the earth, and yet sometimes it seems as if both elements are always at war with each other. So in this video, I wanted to put this to the test with some science. No, just with Pokemon. This is the first part of a new solo run series where I put two Pokemon counterparts to the test to see which one can complete their game faster to ultimately decide which one is better. Today, we're putting the two Gen 3 gods against each other. Groudon and Kyogre. I don't think I need to explain much about their stats. They're both incredibly overpowered. Groudon is more physically oriented, whereas Kyogre is more specially oriented. Personally, I think that Kyogre will be the winner. But what do you think? The way that I'm going to be doing this is still similar to how I do regular solo runs, however, I'll also be mentioning the in-game time for each after they've completed each gym. Alright, let's start the race. So, as expected, May is a breeze for both Groudon and Kyogre since they're way too overpowered for this part of the game. So let's fast forward to the actual gym fights. For Roxanne, I obviously was expecting this to be a breeze with Groudon, and it was, but since Mudshot is a physical move and Nosepass has a base 135 physical defense, I ended up spending quite a bit of time taking her out. I beat her after just 47 in-game minutes. Keep in mind that I'm playing at 4 times speed, so this time will of course be higher than the real time spent. On the bottom, I'm going to be featuring the estimated real time since I think that just better reflects if you were to be playing this on an actual cartridge. So, how does Kyogre do? Well, you can already see that my level is a bit lower. You see, Drizzle ends up being the far better ability since it boosts water type attacks, and I already have Stab to go along with it. So yeah, level 12 and both of her team members go down in one hit. Kyogre is already in the lead by 11 minutes. But will it be able to keep up this lead for the rest of the game? Well, moving on to Brawly, he was yet another easy win, as expected. I took out the Machop in 2 mud shots, then accidentally used Ancient Power, letting him bulk up, which worried me. It didn't matter though, as he never got into healing range, so I took it out in 2 more mud shots, so Groudon has won at just an hour and 12 minutes. And yet again, for Kyogre, Drizzle shows just how OP it's gonna make an already OP Pokemon. Machop goes down in 1 crit, which I doubt mattered, and then Makuhita clings on for a bit, but I win the fight without losing any HP. I did end up having to backtrack to get a Zigzagoon, which means that now Kyogre is only 3 minutes in the lead. Anyway, while I fight May 2, I guess I'll go over how I'm feeling about the future fights. I think Groudon is going to have an easy time until probably Tate and Liza, since Solrock and Lunatone have Levitate. For Kyogre, I honestly think we're smooth sailing for the entire game. Even Watson won't be doing much with our 140 special defense. The rule for these races is that if I lose, I have to actually reset the game. I can't just load the save state again since that would save in-game time. And yeah, Groudon made Watson a complete joke. I mean, I guess he deserves it after all the pain he's put me through in so many Hoenn challenges. I'm now at an hour and 52 minutes. And for Kyogre, I was right. It made quick work of Watson's entire team, even with the type disadvantage. I mean, I guess that disadvantage doesn't really matter when he can one-shot almost anything. It also made it here a bit faster, now 12 minutes ahead. Now, the Maxi fight was actually pretty tough for Groudon since I'm relying on my physical attack, which gets lowered by Intimidate. This is yet another reason why I think Groudon is going to have a harder time since Kyogre is going to be relying purely on its special attack, which is not going to be lowered by Intimidate, whereas Groudon is going to be relying on its physical attack, so Intimidate is going to be a huge problem. I think that the discrepancies in the results of these two battles really showcases this. I actually was pretty worried about Flannery for Groudon since Drought means that there's permanent sunlight, which boosts her fire type moves, and my special defense isn't great. As you can see, Slugma's Flamethrower does half my health, but I end up getting a lucky Ancient Power boost. For Torkoal, I go for Mud Shot, but it doesn't take it out, and then she misses. That was a 10% chance, and that's how I win. Oh my god, what luck. And this is where I was predicting that Kyogre was going to really start taking the lead. Flannery literally can't do anything to me because of the rain, and every turn that the opponent can't attack back is several seconds saved. As you can see, we're almost 30 minutes ahead now. And speaking of luck, time for it to strike again for Norman. So I forgot that he had 2 slackings in Ruby, so at this low of a level, I needed some good luck with Groudon. I decided to use 3 bulk ups, then take out his first slacking, and then for the Vigoroth, I used 2 Ancient Powers to hopefully get the boost. boost, and I got it on the second try. Alright, this battle is basically over now. Funnily, his second Slacking just decided to use Focus Punch, as if I wouldn't attack with a +4 attack boost. And I guess I was feeling a bit cocky with Kyogre since I decided to use 3 Calm Minds for Vigoroth and going down to just 7 HP, and I definitely could have lost if I got crit, but what matters is that I won. And I mean, just look at the time difference. On the way to Four Tree City, Groudon actually lost to a random trainer and his Breloom. Well, it's not me without a stupid play at least once in a video. So I'm gonna briefly gloss over Maythree and Winona since neither were anything notable for both Groudon or Kyogre. I think it's time to do a brief comparison of the two and see who's going to have an easier time for the remainder of the game. And honestly, my original opinion still stands. I'm like 99% sure that Kyogre is just gonna have a far easier time. Like, we have Thunderbolt, Ice Beam, Surf, Calm Mind, and a 2.25 times water power boost. Like, just Kyogre has it all. And like, also Intimidate won't be a problem. Okay, back to Groudon. So remember I always said that I was worried about Tate and Liza? Well, here's how it went. I use Ancient Power on Solrock, it goes for Flamethrower, which is boosted by my Sun, and then I go for another Ancient Power and get the boost. Lunatone misses Hypnosis, which was lucky, and then I take Solrock out, and I do about 2/3 of Lunatone's health. And then she just goes for Calm Mind again. Okay, you just threw the entire battle. Well, I'll take it. And funny enough, it went the exact opposite way for Kyogre. Since I can use Surf, this is just pretty much an easy win. Surf takes out Solrock, and then the next turn I take out Lunatone. So yeah, that battle was basically nothing. Maxie was pretty easy as usual, and of course, like I always do in every Hoenn playthrough video, the entire fate of the universe is now in the hands of a 10-year-old as an irresponsible grown man decides that using the clearly wrong colored orb is a genius idea. Yeah, I'm sorry you have to deal with this every time, but come on. Alright, after that is over with, time to fight the not most forgotten gym leader this time. I use Ancient Power 3 times on Luvdisc and get the boost the 3rd time. Now I can just freely sweep his entire team. Yeah, Ancient Power's boost is just that good when it hits. However, Kyogre doesn't even need Ancient Power's boost. I use Calm Mind and then just rip through his entire team. Getting confused did kinda suck, but luckily I snapped out quickly. So after 8 gyms and not a lot of struggling, here are the stats. If you've noticed, I haven't updated their times in a while, and that was intentional. I'm not going to update their times until I've beaten Steven in both runs, since there may or may not have been some stuff in between. But just look at Kyogre, level 48 at the Elite Four. This has to be the lowest level I've ever been in a solo run. Well, let's see who ended up being the fastest. First up, we have Groudon vs Sydney. I use Ancient Power a few times, but I don't get the boost, so after Mightyena goes down and I still am not boosted, I just decide to use Flamethrower, which, by the way, is basically always stab because of Drought. And yeah, that's the entire battle. Completely destroyed him, but I mean, he is the weakest of the 4. But for Kyogre, I don't even have to set up. I just surf away his entire team as he can't do anything. The one turn he did outspeed me, he just used Snatch. Okay, Gen 3 AI is something else. Second is Phoebe. Let's see how Groudon does. Okay, we one-shot the first Dusclops, and then we almost one-shot the second. Dusclops has a base 130 defense, so yeah, it's just a matter of mashing A until we've won. Now for Kyogre, I actually didn't one-shot Dusclops, which got me scared that I lose due to Curse, but she just confused me. I hit myself on the turn she heals, but break out the very next turn and get a good range this time. I use Calm Mind on Bayonet as she goes for a Shadow Ball, and now it's surfing time. Yeah, these two are doing better than Rayquaza. Now we're on Glacia. She's probably going to be the toughest one here. My strategy is to use Ancient Power on her weaker ice types, and miraculously I get the boost on the very first turn, letting me one-shot her Glalie. I'm not sure if I can one-shot her Celio though, so I take the risk and get the one-shot. Alright, nice. Third is yet another Celio, same thing, didn't get the boost. Fourth is her second Glalie, so I know Ancient Power one-shots it, but I don't get the boost. So now I'm at Walrein with only one Ancient Power boost. Okay, let's go for Earthquake to see how much we do. And oh, it's a one-shot. I did not expect that. Well, on to Drake then. And guess what? Surprise! Kyogre lost. No, I'm just kidding. Surf on Glalie, then 2 Calm Minds, and then Obliterate. I mean, oh my god, this is just ridiculous. For Drake, I gave Groudon the Lax Incense for slightly better evasion and replaced Thunderbolt with Dragon Claw. I'm predicting that Kyogre is going to have a much easier time though, so I don't know. I used 3 Ancient Powers on his Shelgon without getting a boost. For Altaria, I get a crit Ancient Power that one-shots it, but still no boost. This could be bad. His Flygons take 2 hits to go down, but they both have Flamethrower, and with Drought, it's boosted. As you can see, it does a lot. Last is Salamence, and Dragon Claw does about 2/3, and he misses with Flamethrower. Oh my god, that could not have been more perfect timing. And yeah, Kyogre is once again just gonna have such an easier time since I have Ice Beam and Calm Mind. I set up one Calm Mind, and once I see that Altaria is a one-shot, I know I'm clear to take out the rest of his team. I did get Sand attacked once by Flygon, but I didn't miss any of my hits against Salamence, so it still went smoothly. And finally, let's see how Groudon does against Steven. I go for Ancient Power for Skarmory, and oh my god, first turn boost. Alright, so I think the battle's basically over now. I equipped a Pecha Berry since I know that his Skarmory loves using Toxic first turn, so now it's not an issue. Alright, is it time to sweep? Aggron's a one-shot, of course, with Earthquake, and now for Cradily, I don't one-shot it. Okay, that's a surprise. I get confused, which sucks, but I snap out in time to take it out. I use Ancient Power again for Armaldo since I know that it's super effective, and again, I get another boost. That means that I have double in every stat now. I take it out and fit this Claydol. My Flamethrower surprisingly barely doesn't one-shot it, but I do get the good range after a bit. And finally, Metagross, but it doesn't matter. The sun's up and I have double special attacks, so I win. So seeing just how easy Kyogre has had it, it's time to see how much trouble Steven gives it. Just like with Groudon, I equipped the Pecha Berry, but Skarmory surprisingly didn't go for Toxic this time, as if he knew I was holding it. I freely set up 2 Calm Minds, and then I one-shot the Skarmory, and then the Aggron, and then the Cradily, and then the Claydol, and then the Metagross, and then Armaldo. Oh, well, that was anticlimactic. And after all of that, who won? Who beat the game faster? Well, I purposely haven't updated their in-game times ever since Winona since I didn't want to spoil the race too early. So make your final guesses as to who you think won. The winner is Kyogre. Yeah, not really a surprise. With an in-game time of just 6 hours and 5 minutes at 4 times speed, it absolutely obliterated the competition. On the other hand, Groudon had an in-game time of 7 hours and 55 minutes. Yeah, I know it's pretty slow compared to other challenge YouTubers, but I mean, I'm not like a pro speedrunner, so I'm not really super familiar with the ins and outs. So I think personally, having an in-game time of an hour and a half is really good. Having high special attack made the game so much easier since Intimidate was completely useless and Kyogre just had way better type coverage to suit its high special attack. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this, make sure to subscribe and let me know if you want to see more of these solo races and who you want to compete next. Alright, I'll see you all soon.